Well, welcome back
Yay.
to another episode of the Did We Stutter Show, aka
Woo
the
woo.
Marianne and Rachel Show. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We're at 13 last time I looked, so maybe it'll be a few more.
Share it with your family and friends.
Right. So today's episode is going to be about gut feelings, or like gut checks, probably overlapping a bit with getting red flags. So I think we should probably define what we mean by a gut feeling or a red flag.
So academic of you, Rachel.
Is it really? Oh,
I love it.
You can see my life. Give context first before continuing to examples. So for me, maybe I'll define my version and then you can say what a gut feeling is for you, because I feel like they're a bit different for every person. Like your body's reaction to something is different, but everyone's like, oh yeah, that's definitely a gut feeling. So it's that feeling you get. For me, it's like anxiety or nausea, or just a weird knowing in the pit of my stomach about, yes, this is a good thing. No, that's a bad thing. Or even the gray area for me is often a gut feeling, because it's like slamming your brakes. Don't make any major decisions right now because something's weird. Yeah. So what about you?
Yeah. I guess for me, the gut feeling is the feeling gearing you toward some type of choice or decision. And you don't know if it's going to be good or bad, and you feel a little vulnerable and you're a little scared, but you have like a good feeling, and it can be either good or bad. Like you have a good gut feeling. Oh, I have a good feeling about this. I'm going to bet on this. I feel like you could do it that way. Or you can have, I have a bad feeling about this. You shouldn't do that. Like, I don't want you to go on this, whatever. So that's kind of how I think of it. And when it's good, it's great. And when it's bad, it can be really, really bad too. But I think it's that I do think you feel it in your stomach, in your mind, in your body of like, this isn't right. And I think it's a little bit of intuition, I guess.
Yeah. Discernment. Yeah. Intuition, discernment.
Yeah. So I definitely do a lot of gut feelings. I'm a feeler. I'm a feelings person.
ENFJ.
ENFJs unite. This is the channel for you.
I'm an INFJ.
Oh yeah. So introverts, extroverts of the NFJ. But I'm definitely like into my feelings. Like if I don't feel good about something, I will shut it down.
Right. Likewise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if I feel really good, I'm gonna keep going and telling everyone, and I'm gonna rally. I'm gonna be a hype girl about it. So
I can see that. Well, I have seen that actually.
Yeah. Too funny.
Okay. Did you want to give your example first, or?
Sure.
Okay.
I can give. This is probably the most important gut feeling of my life. Well, first, let me start off with, when you do those like work personality quizzes or whatever, or work, like how you work with people, like you're like ENFJ, like those type, like a Myers-Briggs, but like, it's like, there's all different like work styles. Like I can adapt, I'm flexible, or I like rules or whatever. I remember my main one, and I remember my team was like, that is so you. It was like, I follow the rules, but I definitely know when to bend them when I need to. Isn't that me? That's so me.
I pictured Dawn when you said that from the Rosie Project. She bends the rules when he needs to.
Because I definitely do that. And I bend the rules or touch the line or cross the line a little bit because of my gut feelings of whatever the situation, conflict, whatever we are at work. Like I'll be like, that's great that we can do that, but we can do this instead. Like that's how I and that's so just letting you know, that's kind of my way of how I approach life, is really through gut feelings. And I think the biggest one I had was how I met my husband. I was at a sports bar in an undisclosed location. And
It wasn't a sketchy sports bar.
It wasn't a sketchy sports bar.
Not in a dark alley.
And I see this guy, and I'm like, oh, he's kind of cute. And he's hanging out with like another Asian guy. So I'm like, oh, well, he hangs out with Asian people. So that's a sign. In my head, that's how it worked in my head. And I see this guy, and I'm like, okay. And then like I was single for a while, and, I was so sick of waiting. And I was like, if I see someone, I have nothing to lose if I go up to this person and say hi. And I've been feeling that for a while. And so that night I went up to this guy and I said, hey, do you have the time? And of course we have cell phones by then. We're not that old. We're not that old, because he had a watch on too. I had to make sure he had a watch. So I finally approached him after a few drinks, not gonna lie. I was young. And I asked him, what's the time? And he said, oh, it's 1 a.m. And I said, oh, it's early.
1 a.m.
And I was like, oh, and then we got drinks, and then we danced, and then he got my number, and yeah. And he called the next day, and that is my husband. And I mean, that's I think if I didn't go up to him, who knew where I'd be right now?
That's true.
And I think about that moment so much, and I'm just like, if I didn't follow my gut of like, I really like this, there's something about this person, and I'm just gonna go do it, and what do I have to lose? So that's my gut feeling. And also towing the line. I like because I'm not really rebellious, let's be honest. I am the opposite of rebellion. I do want to like respect people, but that's how I rebel, is just, I guess, outsmarting people. Like, I'm following your rules, kind of.
Wait, what do you mean by that, really? Because did you break a rule in that situation? I don't think so.
I mean, I never like, I don't break the rules. I feel like I make them better. We would always get like data requests or information requests from work, and I would do that, but add a little bit more and be like, oh, did you notice this and this and this? I would definitely take advantage of the situation. Or I'd be like, actually, that's not accurate. You need to be focusing more on this. Like, that's how I would toe the line.
Okay.
And like, actually, your energy should go this way. Those are just some of how I think.
Cool beans. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
Cool beans. Let's see. So I think I had all sorts of thoughts about, like, I don't know. I think I was taking a walk when I thought of, gut feelings for episode. Because for some reason I had remembered something my dad said that had happened when we were all really, really young. Was when my sister was outside playing, my dad was inside, and then I don't know what it was, just like, go outside and check on Alana. He gets outside and like off the porch just in time to grab her back from going into the street and getting hit by a car. And so like, that's a really more intense example, I think, but he had no idea that car was going. We looked on a normal street. It wasn't super busy, but people do drive down, and so for some reason he got out of the house just in time. And so that was how the kind of the gut feeling thing, because sometimes gut feelings, like in your example, it's a life-changing moment, right?
Yeah, it is life-changing. That's very true.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So, and
there's so many stories like that too,
right.
of like, oh, I felt this, and then like there was one, like a friend of mine, she didn't have her seatbelt on or something, and the brother went, oh, put your seatbelt on, and then they had a car crash.
Yeah. Well,
and it's like, oh my God.
And how often do people tell you to buckle up?
Yeah.
Not that often.
So
I had a friend who didn't like to buckle up because in her country, buckling up is not required. And I was like, I'm sorry, but if you're in my car, you're going to buckle up.
Yeah,
and she's like, I don't want to. I was like, oh, you got to buckle up, because if something happens, I'm not going to, I can't live with myself.
Don't toe the line with safety. That's for sure.
That's a whole different area. Or I also thought about this one time. So I went to visit Marianne in DC. I don't remember when it was, but we wanted to see the monuments at night. And so remember that time? So we had gone to the Washington Monument. No, we went to Lincoln first, I think, then the Washington Monument. And we went up to the top of the monument when it was dark. I think it was before it had repairs or something. I don't know if it's still open anymore, but anyway. And so then we were going to walk to Georgetown, which is not that far away from there, but it was getting pretty dark. And while it's getting dark, well, obviously in DC, it's safe-ish. I think it's getting less safe, but anyway.
It's like any other city.
Right. So, you start getting a little anxious because we're just two girls, right?
Hey.
Right. I felt like a victim. I felt like a shark bait for a bit. But so we were like gonna go to Georgetown, like shopping area. There's no metro down that way. And then I remember I was on the fence, like, do we go? Do we not go? Marianne's like, let's go. I'm like, I don't know. That's usually how things go. And we were going, so we changed our minds, and had just walked past Foggy Bottom Metro. We turn around, and because I'm like, let's go home. And then we see this guy. Remember this? And I see him. I get this, I'm like sinking feeling, warning signs going off, not nausea, but just like, and he just had this look on his face. He just did not look like he was out for your best interest. And so, but then I'm like, let's go instead. So I was like, I changed my mind. Mary knows me. Like, oh, maybe we should go to Georgetown. And so we turn around again. And when we turn around, he turns around. So he's legitimately following us.
Yeah.
And so I'm like sinking feelings. This is like, what is it, like Dateline? That type of stuff. And so I think that's probably a more obvious gut feeling type of thing. But the first time I saw him, I was like, something's up with this dude. This is not good news. And it ended up not being good news because he followed us down into the metro, and we were like, what do we do? Luckily there's a family of probably 5 or 6 there with a baby.
Oh yeah, we were near them.
And so we pretended we were BFFs with them. I don't know if they, wherever they are now, but so I was thankful for them because the metro was kind of empty at that point. But yeah, I thought of those. And then there are other ones too. I remember certain work ones where I had a series of really bad supervisors. And I remember the first one came along and they told me why they hired her. And I thought to myself, wow, I would never hire that person because the way they described her character and how they wanted her to interact with our office, I was just like, oh, that'll make your life hell. And she really did make our life terrible.
Oh,
she was just that type of person. She started out nice enough, and then she turned into like, I don't know, a different person. But it was always there, I guess, based on their description of her before I even met her. But then that happened so much where I just got all these red flags when people were coming into our offices. I was like, it's going to be end bad. It's going to end bad. And, you know, it would be people who I just would not, good learning experience, but there are people who I would not wish on someone else to have in leadership. But then I ended up switching offices again. And this boss, super strange interviewer, he was every now and then when I was reading the Rosie Project, Don reminded me of my old boss. And I was like, oh, interesting. So this is the dude who interviewed. I was like, this guy's strange. He's weird. But everyone kept telling me, so-and-so is a great supervisor. You're going to have so much fun working with him. You're going to have a great time. He's going to be a great boss. And I was like, that was the middle ground where I was ready to catch the warning signs because that's what I was used to. But then I was like, well, everybody says that he's nice. And these people are people I respect. And I trust their judgment. So I was like, I'll be in the middle for now. I don't know how to feel. End up being probably the best supervisor I've ever had. So I think those are kind of just my examples.
You were in defense mode alpha is what I call it. You were like alpha. Yeah, because
that's good.
I'm a very defensive person. I'm working on it, but I've also accepted it too. I'm very defensive, and you had your defenses up and you expected the worst, and then the walls came down.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to use my symbolism.
But it's not terribly bad to be a defense mode alpha. I feel like the world is kind of weird, and so I think you have to be, or you're going to get eaten up.
Yeah, when you were talking about the guy following us, I was trying to remember what I was thinking, because I do remember that. I remember being in that metro because it was like an aisle. It's like the middle. That's what I remember. And I think I remember I was probably joking, like, oh, don't worry, I've watched Buffy, I can protect us. Like something stupid, like, see, I'm very defensive, like, don't worry, we got this.
No, the Buffy moves. And I was thinking, we're gonna be on TV. I'm sorry, Mom.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we'll be fine, we'll fight, we'll scream. We got phones, we can do this.
Yeah.
But I do wonder what Dawn from Rosie Project thinks about gut feelings.
Oh, what would Dawn say?
You'd probably say they are illogical.
At the beginning of the book, he would.
And then he would be like, oh, they can be kind of powerful. I bet he'll say they can be powerful sometimes when put to the right situation.
Right. Because they're so emotional, really, because you can't measure it.
You can't measure it at all.
Yeah. But do you feel like so if you were looking at the number of gut experiences you've had in your lifetime-ish, what percentage do you think has been correct? Most of the time? Not most of the time?
Oh, man. I don't know. I guess I think most of them are. I feel pretty good about life right now. Yeah. I can't think of any that I was like, oh, yeah, I can't think of it. So have you had any where you're like, ooh, I should have listened to that gut feeling, or it didn't go well?
I feel like my gut is vast majority of the time is probably pretty accurate.
Yeah.
I think there have been times, there definitely, I don't want to give the examples of those, but there have been times where I'm like, I probably should not do that, but I'll give it a chance because you just don't know. Maybe it'll work out. No, I should have followed my gut. Definitely should have followed my gut.
Oh, like you didn't follow your gut.
Yeah, because I was like,
gotcha.
Maybe my gut's wrong, or just give it a chance.
Oh, I've definitely done that. I've definitely done that. I think
trouble.
Yeah. Depends on the situation.
Right.
No, I think I've definitely been in that situation where you're like, you ignore your gut feeling and you're like, well, maybe I'm just scared.
Right.
Like maybe I'm just fearful and maybe I'll just give it a shot. And that's where you fight with your vulnerability. It's so hard to be vulnerable. Ugh. Even as I get wiser and older, I still hate being vulnerable.
Right.
And that's a hill to climb. And I guess when that happens to me, when I end up either disappointed, it didn't go where I thought it would go, it didn't turn out as planned, or as you said, it's just too much work, too much drama, it didn't lead to the right path. I mean, I guess that's a lesson learned, right? That's just, that's how you learn, through mistakes.
Right.
So I hate to say that. Like, I remember it took me a long time to accept bad days. It took me so long of like I was a huge perfectionist. Like,
I was just thinking of accepting imperfection.
Like, I thought of this because of this, I'm not a bad person.
Yeah.
Like,
and that's kind of Dawn too.
Yeah. See, it's all connected. It's all connected to the Rosie. Watch that episode, by the way.
Yeah.
Watch that episode. But like, I think it's, accepting your gut feelings that are good, accepting the ones that you didn't listen to, and like, where do you go from there? It's how you react to the situation afterwards that really matters.
Right. Yeah.
But I definitely, that took a while to learn. Like, I definitely was a wallower. I was definitely one that was like, how did I do that? I'm so dumb. Why did I do that was so stupid of me, and then like beat myself up. I've definitely, there's a strong internal dialogue in my brain. I don't know about y'all, but like, I have a very strong internal dialogue. Like, I had a very strong inner critic, and then I've just learned to let it go. And now I've become more of a cheerleader to myself of like, you can do it. You can do it. You can do it. Yeah. So I think that's, I mean, that shows the power of gut feelings.
Right. Yeah, that's true. I like the gut feelings. I don't know what I would do without them. I've made some really important life decisions based on gut feelings, and they were right decisions.
Yeah, as long as you're happy. Like, I think too, it's important. Like, you are the star of your own life. Like don't feel peer pressure. Don't feel like you need to do something for someone else's happiness.
Right. You have to live with yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to live with yourself and your own successes and failures. Yeah. And it's not for other people. And I think that takes a while to learn if you're stuck in that viewpoint.
Yeah. I guess it just depends on, I don't want to make it too complicated, but what's the difference between
layers?
The difference between doing what you want to do because that's the right thing for you, and then still that self-sacrificial element, which is part of life too, where sometimes you can't do what you want to do because it impacts other people in a way that isn't good for them.
So lovely. So well said, Rachel.
Thank you.
I love it.
I'm not trying to.
I know, but I liked that. If that was like a book, I would highlight that.
Oh, thanks.
It's very true. It's very true. So yeah, it's important to listen and learn from your gut feeling.
Right. Oh, and what you said, or we both said, it reminded me of something else, of the balance between doing what you want to do because it's right for you, balancing out with what other people need, and then the extreme of knowing your gut saying, don't help these people too much because it's just going to suck you dry into a little raisin, or it's just going to make you, it's going to impact you negatively, because some of it goes into you trying too hard to please people or people taking advantage of you. And that was something I had to get used to too, of my gut saying, distance yourself, help, but have boundaries, as opposed to being 100% involved. And I think that's one thing I had to learn too, was your gut saying, no, don't help them too much, back up some, versus the idea that you do want to be helpful to people, but sometimes being super helpful is not helpful.
Yeah. Oh, I think you really hit a nuance that we all face. Like we all want to be liked. We all want to help. We all want to be there. We also want to protect ourselves and our sanity and who we are. And because I think both of us, we are good people. We are very giving, but we don't want to give too much, because what is going to be left for us in the end? Yeah. And is that good for me still if I help you? And again, I am the star of my show. Shouldn't I be shining too? Why should you be shining the whole time? Sorry with my metaphors.
But I get it.
You got it. You're tracking.
I'm tracking.
But I think you hit such a great nuance that we all face in some weird way, of like, I want to be liked. I want to be a good person, but sometimes I can't. And that's where I think the fancy term self-care comes in.
Right.
you know, and that is so true. Boundaries, self-care is so important. But then too, there's the flip side of that is, are you too selfish?
Right.
And it's like, oh man, you just got to find that sweet spot. And it's all about a balance of things. It's a balance, it's a style, and it's, you know, at the end of the day, are you respecting yourself? Are you respecting others? Okay, done.
Right.
Let's not overthink it. Right. But it's hard. It's very hard. Agreed. Especially if you care about those other people. Right. Because I've definitely had moments where I cared about other people more than I cared about myself. And that was hard to be like, Marianne, like, you're tired. You're a raisin. I like your raisin comment. You're sleep deprived. Why are you doing all these things for others? And why are you worried about it too? Oh, because I care. Right. But hey, you're the one that has to wake up every day and do all these things for you. Right. You know, what are they doing for you?
Right. Yeah, it should be a two-way street. Not all the time, but often it should be.
Like friendship, another great episode.
Right. That's our favorite episode. I think I listened to it more than once. Is that weird that even though we were in it, I listened to it? We take notes on how to improve.
We do. And I think it's all connected, like gut feelings, Dawn's story of the Rosie Project being understood by a majority of people. Right. And then the power of these gut feelings. Oh, Rachel, I'm lost
here.
You.
I'm here. I don't know what I did. I'm not going to edit it. This is real life happening.
This is real life happening. But there's just so many layers, because so many layers of friendship and how we go about this world.
Preach. I think that's a good place to end. Nice little period on the end, or exclamation point. That might be an exclamation point if Dawn were here.
That's how Dawn does it.
Oh, right.
That was really cute.
Oh, this part I got confused. It's like moving your hands. I was like, I tried practicing. I didn't realize it was air quotes.
Yeah, if you're listening, Dawn from the Rosie Project did not understand air quotes. And he thought it was the funnest thing ever. He goes, this is really fun. I'm going to try and make an exclamation point. I wish he was real. He's so cute. Anyway. Yeah.
Well, this means like our videos, comment, and subscribe. Yay! Catch you all later. Bye.
See ya.